So everyone's talking about it, but what is authenticity? Welcome back, and if this is the first time that you've been here and you want to learn about things like authenticity, how to deal with and process emotions, resilience, what it's like living as a highly sensitive person, then please make sure you subscribed and turned on the notifications so you know each and every time I post a video. So last week we dived into what resilience is, and I told you that at the core of that and underlaying all of that needs to be authenticity. Now, lots of people are talking about authenticity, and lots of people are saying that in order to look after your mental health, even, that you need to make sure that you're being authentic. But what does it mean? We can't just tell people that you need to be authentic when people don't actually even really know what it means. Lots of people, if you ask them, what does it mean to be authentic? People will say to be yourself. But can anybody really define exactly what being myself is? It's very easy to say, well, your true state, who you really are. But who really am I? I think it's a skill and it's a good ability to be able to be adaptable based on the environment that I'm in. And so I'm not exactly the same person wherever I go. And so which part of me is authentic? Which part of me is real? So I'm going to give you a really simple definition of what we mean when we say authenticity, or certainly what I mean when I say authenticity. Authenticity is knowing what I'm feeling, knowing what I need as a result of what I'm feeling, and then being able to communicate that need within my relationships and within my activities. Lots of us fall down at different stages of this. If I said to you, what does hunger feel like? You might say a slight empty feeling in your stomach, but we all know that most of the time when we eat, or a lot of the time when we eat, it's not based on hunger, it's based on a feeling or an emotion. Knowing what, and that feeds into knowing what I need as a result of what I'm feeling. Often, some of us make the big mistake of thinking that just because I'm feeling sad, it means that I need to do something in order to feel happy. That's not necessarily always true. Sometimes when I'm feeling sad, actually what I need is space to feel sad. And the third part of that, and probably the bit that most people find most difficult, again, without even realizing, is communicating what I need as a result of that feeling within my relationships and activities. Lots of us will use manipulation, and I don't mean manipulation just as in the like real negative version of that. I mean, because we don't know how to communicate what we need, we will find new ways to do that. If we look at our working environment, lots of us will find it very difficult to say no to people. For example, someone will ask us to do something, we will feel a little bit of angst at the idea of doing it because we don't have time. And what we really need as a result is to say no, but we don't know how to communicate that. And so many of us end up just saying yes. We need to come back to our bodies and come back to understanding them fully, trusting that on a level that means that we are then able to communicate that. I think so much of this goes awry when we're younger. We're taught not to trust our gut feelings. We're taught that normally by adults who don't know how to deal with our gut feelings, and predominantly by adults who would rather hide from some of the truths that when we're younger, we're very good at pointing out because we're much more in tune with who we are. So when I talk about the internal barometer, I'm talking about how we're feeling inside. I always say to people that whenever we're moved and whenever we're triggered by something that causes a feeling within us, we should be asking what part of myself has been triggered rather than what have I been triggered by. When we ask what part of myself has been triggered, we turn things in on ourselves, and that's how we begin to understand ourselves on a more deeper level. And I can tell you that when you ask that question, you will learn much more about yourself and about your surroundings because you become in tune with how you're feeling and what you need as a response. The very simple and obvious example that I use is when we're driving and we let somebody out at a junction and they don't say thank you, nearly all of us get angry. When questioned, we will nearly always say that we get angry because it's not polite to do that. But that not being polite in not thanking us doesn't take away our good act. So why are we angry? We're angry because actually we were seeking some validation from the good act. We wanted that person to tell us thank you, to show us how good we are. And actually that part of us that didn't get that validation is the part that's annoyed. So we start to realize that the way that we communicate in the world and the emotions that we are responding to are often detached from what they truly are. To be truly resilient, we need to come back to this. We need to start to understand it. We need to recognize the physical symptoms of feelings and emotions. I regularly do body scans every day, and I do them because my go-to when I'm triggered by something is to want to escape. And so I tend to do these body scans because that's when I find out that I'm struggling. For example, guilt is often a feeling in my stomach. Worry and concern often gives me a feeling in my chest, and tension and anger is often in my shoulder, in my neck, and I get terrible headaches. So our body's always trying to tell us, but we need to reconnect with what that is and what that means. So things to think about and take away: when you are triggered by something, what does it look and feel like for you? Okay, so not what triggers you, but when you're triggered, what does it look like and feel for you? Start to learn that, start to understand that on a more deeper level, and you will be able to communicate what you're feeling much better in your activities throughout your days. Everybody has a default setting or 2 or 3. Mine is to escape, and if I can't escape, then you will see me get angry, my chest will pump out, and I'll put my angry face on. Anger is not my feeling. Anger is a reaction to what's going on. It's normally a reaction to fear, to anxiety within my life, and that's how I react to it. Ask yourself, what is the cost for you and the people around you when you're in your default setting? So when I'm in my default setting of escape, it means that I can't emotionally be available for anybody around me. I can't emotionally be available for my family because I go into shutdown. And of course, when I'm angry, it means that I make snap decisions and I do things that I wish that I would. To summarize, authenticity is knowing what I'm feeling, knowing what I need as a result of what I'm feeling, and then being able to communicate that need into your activities. If you start at that place, understanding that, then you will begin to reconnect with your most authentic self, and you will start to understand that that doesn't mean being this same default person all of the time. It means being in touch with who I am and what I need and how I need to communicate that. As always, if you've liked this video, then please make sure that you've liked it. And next week, we're going to bring the authenticity and what resilience is together to tell you how to become more resilient and grow that skill of resilience.